Do you want your edits to go from this to this? Then stick around, because in this video I will give you 10 tips to become a better anime editor, and these tips will be helpful no matter what editing program you use. I will also give you a bonus tip that will instantly make your edits better. The first tip is start with the basics. So think about it like that. If you want to start learning football, you're not gonna start by learning a bicycle kick. You first need to learn the basics like passing, dribbling and shooting, and it's the same with editing. Before starting to learn complicated effects and transitions, you should first learn the basics like tweakstering and time remapping, the basic transitions like a zoom in and a zoom out, and position transitions with using X and Y values. And only after mastering these basics I would recommend going on and learning more complicated stuff. Now you might say, but how do I learn these basics? Which brings us to the second tip, which is watching tutorials and applying what you learned from the tutorials into your edits. So it might seem obvious, but tutorials are a great way to learn new stuff. But there's one big problem with tutorials, which is that a lot of the tutorials often don't explain it from the point of view of a beginner, so a lot of the time watching tutorials can make you just more confused.
Which is why I made my editing course, which will walk you step by step from not knowing any editing and not even having any of the needed softwares and plugins to being able to edit like me and getting a lot of views on your social media. So if you want to learn how to edit as fast as possible, make sure to check my editing course out. The link will be in the description.
Let's move on to our third tip, which can ruin your edit if you don't do it right, which is syncing. Syncing is how you sync your edit to the beats of the song, which if you don't do right can ruin even an edit with the best effects and transitions. For example, here's one of my edits that I synced really badly, which just shows you how much not syncing your edit well can really ruin it. And so make sure you sync your edit well with the song by listening to it and checking the sound waves so you can have the transitions on beat. So this next tip might seem really straightforward, but I still see a lot of people getting it wrong, which is matching your song to the style and to the anime, which is actually something you should be thinking about before starting the edit, because making a hype Naruto edit with a sad song doesn't really work. So before you start the edit, just make sure that your song matches your anime and also matches this editing style you chose to do. And now for my next tip, which is color correction. Color correction, or for short CC, is basically changing the look of your edit, which is a great way to spice up your edit, make it look prettier, or just match the vibe of the song. Now a tip for a good CC is just make it simple. Trying to add too many effects on your CC would usually just make it busy, which will in turn make it look bad and ruin the quality. Which leads me also to the bonus tip, which is quality, because quality is just a great way to instantly improve how your edit looks by the edit looking cleaner and prettier. So just make sure you have good render settings, use Topaz or any other upscaling program
to make sure that your edits have the best possible quality. Speaking of quality, a way to improve your editing quality is by having
plugins. So in case you don't know, plugins are basically add-ons to After Effects or any other programs that can do many different stuff, from making cool effects to helping your workflow. And so I made a quick list of my most used plugins and which ones are must-have that I use in every single edit, and which ones are more specific or are just not necessary but are still a good add-on to have. Now tip number 7 is one of the most important things you can do to improve every single time you edit, which is trying new things. If it's an effect, a transition, or even a completely new style, because by learning new things you force yourself to learn stuff you didn't know before, which helps you improve in the long run. But now you might say, but I don't have any ideas for a new effect to try. A great way to learn a lot of new things is by trying a style you haven't done before, because by trying a completely new style you learn a lot of new and different things, which even if you don't end up liking the style and wanting to make more edits of the same style, you still end up learning new things that you can incorporate into your other edits. And who knows, maybe you will end up liking that style and making it your main style. Now you might ask, but how can I try a new style if I don't even know where to start? Which is completely normal, because trying a new style means editing completely different from what you're used to. Which brings me to the next tip, which is taking inspiration or remaking edits. When trying a new style, it's a great idea to check an edit you like that use that style and either try to remake it or just take inspiration from how that editor made that edit by changing the clips and some of the effects. Just make sure you give remake an IB credit. Now for the next tip, I'll show you the same edit, but for the second one I added a little bit of something. Okay, try to guess what it is. Now, if you guessed that on the second one I added sound effects, you are correct. Probably noticed that just by adding some SFX to the second one, it made the edit way better. And the thing is, adding SFX is not even that hard. I mean, sure, you have to spend some time to make sure you find the right SFX for the clip, but in general, you can still be a beginner and start adding SFX to your edit, which will improve your edit significantly. And now for my last tip, just like almost everything else in life, to get good at something, you have to put a lot of time into it. And so if you're actually serious about anime editing and you really do wanna get better at it, I would recommend taking a lot of time to edit. If on top of that you apply the rest of the tips that I gave you, you will for sure be a better editor with time. And yeah, that was my 10 tips to improve your anime edits. I hope you learned something new, and if you did, consider liking the video and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.